there's a project that we've just finished called the Terryland Water Treatment Plant project, and there was a job in Galway that we did with Coffey Construction, who would be one of our key clients, and it was effectively putting a big tank and a big intake structure on the Corrib River in Galway. So it's just facing NUIG. You've got the N6 Quincentennial Bridge, or whatever it's called, just beside it. Very, very open, very exposed. There's two primary routes into Galway, and this is one of them. So there's thousands of cars passing this thing, can see it all day. And effectively, we were digging a 5 or 6 metre deep hole lower than the river to take water out of the river, then building a tunnel over to the treatment plant to take water out of the river and send to the treatment plant to be treated, and then serve Galway and the environs for water. And it was a very technically challenging job. The Corrib River is one of the fastest flowing rivers in Europe. And if you imagine, we were trying to dig a hole the height of a house underneath the river. So we had to design temporary sheet pile cofferdams are called, to effectively give us a watertight box that guys could dig a big hole and build a big tank out into one of the fastest flowing rivers in Europe. So we joked at the start of it that it was a big job for us when we got it. It would be a big job now, but when we got it, we'd a lot less staff, and we were joking, saying, "This is a great job. If this goes wrong, we're going to get in the news." Yeah. Because it was the sort of job it wouldn't go a small bit wrong. Yeah. Nothing happened, thankfully. You know, the Coffey, the contractor, are a very competent contractor. We worked really closely with them in terms of, you know, construction sequences, so that we could get a really lean and optimized design whilst taking cognizance of the particular risks and challenges of that job. So it ended up, it's a job where, as I say, we're taking water out of the river. It goes through this quite complicated hydraulic structure that is, you know, there's a bit of it that catches sediment that comes out of the river. Like, you don't want to take sediment out of the river and stick it through the treatment plant, because you don't want sediment in your drinking water. So there's a bit where it catches sediment. There's a bit that catches fish. There's a lot of fish in that river. And there's quite a complicated and fancy fish screen that takes fish out of the tank and puts them back in the river.
There are fish deterrent lights as well.
There's these like strobe lights at the front that flash that are meant to deter fish from coming into it. You come out of that, and there was a tunnel and went underneath one of the main roads into Galway. It was a tunnel pipeline we designed that under like an archaeological site. Mm-hmm. Then there was another river we had to go under, which had like historic sort of lining walls that we had to number the stones as they came down to put the stones back in their right place. And then I went into the treatment plant. So like, that was a job. When we say we do civil, structural and geotechnical engineering, there was complex civil engineering there, complex structural engineering, and complex geotechnical, and it's been a really successful job. We did some quite complicated temporary works designs on it for the cofferdam, but also for if you imagine you're digging a hole underneath the river, the water that's in the river is going to want to come into that hole, so you need to pump that out so the guys can build it. But when that comes out, it's full of like silt and sediment. So we had to design a big, enormous detention pond where the flow then meanders through it, and based on the speed it meanders through, the sediment falls out of it and then it goes back into the river clean. And all this was happening 100 metres from Inland Fisheries Ireland head office. So you have a fisheries river,
no pressure,
you know. So like, you know, there was a scope for a work to treat. And you know, it's been a great job. It's been nominated for a couple of awards. It was nominated for a BIM Excellence Award and shortlisted. Unfortunately, we didn't win that one. But it's nominated for a CECA major project. CECA is the Civil Engineering Contractors Association, and we've an awards dinner next week on the 20th in Dublin that we're attending with Coffey, and that's for major civil engineering projects. Greater than £10 million is the award, so fingers crossed.
Terryland was an excellent project because it was so collaborative. And I can remember at the very start, we were down in Athenry at the contractor's office, sitting around a table. Obviously, all these really major engineering challenges ahead of us, and everyone sort of still scratching their heads about how can we do this? What's the best sequence of work to do this? And we're throwing up ideas on the sketchboard with the contractor. Yes, we're throwing up silly ideas sometimes, but it would lead to something else. And that sort of collaborative approach from the very start of the project, it got everyone thinking properly about how we're going to build these structures, but more importantly, how this temporary work's going to work, and how are we going to get these sheet piles in, and what happens if water? What's the backup plan if water starts coming in? So we had sort of thought through all these processes, and what if this happens, and what if that happens, and how do we react to this, and where's the crane going to go, and how are we going to set this crane up so it doesn't impact the temporary work, so we can get it all sitting properly. So these conversations were very organic and off the cuff at the start, but it started formulating this bit of a seed, a bit of a nugget that we started building upon. And as I say, the job was extremely successful, and I think it really benefited from that sort of that upfront collaborative working at the very start of the project. And certainly it brought a lot of benefit to how we go about designing it, because we had all agreed the process. We sort of agreed the parameters. We had worked with the employer's rep on a few of the variables and really pinned down what we were going to do and got it all agreed in advance. And really meant that from the off we're on the right foot with the contractor and with the client. And I think that was one of the key things in order to give us the sort of success that we had.
Yeah, and without meaning to sound like really corny, all those conversations, it nearly started, what is the basis of engineering, which is like, how are we going to do this?
Yeah, problem solving.
Yeah, how, like, it was literally, you're looking at this going, okay, we know what we need to do.
Yeah.
But how? And as Paul said, there was a lot of time spent, and like, it was one of those, it was a very sort of free and open sort of environment where there was no such thing as a stupid idea, because it was such a complex challenge that the right solution is a combination of stupid ideas, or what seem like stupid ideas, and sensible ideas, because
until you start putting them together,
and I started, well, maybe if we do a bit of this and a bit of that, and we add this on here, and that looks like it might work, you know. And it was just because it was one of those types of jobs where, like, you know, it was easy to see the problems because there were so many of them, and the challenges. But I suppose challenges are to be overcome.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. The challenges are there to find a solution for, and that's what we do day in, day out on any job, be it a bridge, be it a hospital, be it a school, be it a hotel. You know, it's just how you approach those problems, and how one of the key things, how do you approach it collaboratively with other people in the team, because there's bigger things going on than just us, and really, in the end of the day, we just want to do the job right.